What's up, you guys? Happy Wednesday! How's your day going? My day has been so much fun. The last 3 days have just been packed with coaching CrossFit and doing life coaching and coaching soccer and all the coaching and talking about women that want to do breath work and do Hungry for Happiness. And I love these days because all I get to do is surround myself with people that are starting to see the world in a different way, and they're starting to see this light, and they're starting to have these understandings that, like, my current reality isn't actually what it needs to be, and there's a different way to do things, right? And even like with the little kids when playing soccer is like, oh, we're going from playing bunch ball and actually spreading out, right? Like, life is all about discovering. Life is learning. How do you discover those things so that you can really uncover that path for you? So a lot of you guys have heard us talking about our shift program, which is coming, and I really wanted to dive into kind of the basics of that program, why we created it, and the outcome that's going to happen, right? And so we talk to people all day, every day that are feeling stuck. They're feeling overwhelmed. They're not feeling like they have their best energy. They're not living up to their true potential. Like, they have this outside thing that they think is their problem and it's not. Like, and so obviously we own a gym, so we have a lot of people that come to us that think that they have a weight loss problem, right? Or they have when I lose weight, then I'll be happy. You know, they have that thing going on, and they think it's about food. They think it's about their body. Or we have moms that are like, if I just had more time, or people that are stuck in corporate America, like, if it just had more freedom, right? Like, we all have this thing that we think is our problem, and we think is the thing that's keeping us stuck, and the thing that we can't get out of our head. And our goal is to always show you guys that there's a different way, right? And that our true belief is that the way is simple shifts in how you nourish your body, how you move, understanding and actually feeling your emotions, and then actually understanding like how your brain can work for you, but how right now it's probably working against you. Okay, so in our shift method, I'm going to flip my phone around so you guys can see this, because I can't figure out any other way to do this. So hang tight for me for a second. I'm going to let you see this, and then I'll post it below. So with shift, okay, there's four basic things you have to work on. So that's your movement, your focus, your nourishment, and how you feel and how you understand your emotions. Okay. But the thing that keeps those things moving and coming together are the following. So the 6 core elements of shift: connection, congruency, commitment, courage, curiosity, and consistency. Okay. So as we've seen people and we've coached them over the last 10 years, we've come up with the things that really are important for you to actually start to shift your behavior and to actually make change. Okay. I am 100% believer in the fact that so many people are in so much struggle and just want that outcome. They want that. They're like, I'm going to go for this goal. I'm going to do a 30-day challenge. I'm going to do a 90-day challenge. I'm going to do whatever. I was that person for so many years. And this is why it's such a big deal to me, because once I actually stepped back and I found some awareness and I started to realize that, like, it wasn't a time frame goal, and it wasn't a when then game. It wasn't when I got there. It wasn't 30 days from now. I'll finally be happy. I'll finally love myself. I'll finally find contentment. I'll finally have freedom. Like, it was never the thing. But what I did do is I said, okay, I'm going to get real, and I'm going to go deeper, and I'm going to do the scary work, and I'm going to figure out, why do I feel like this? What do I actually want? I'm going to uncover those deep rooted beliefs, and then I'm going to actually be able to change my life. And I've done that, right? And we've seen so many people time and time again of like, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to go hard and fast, and I'm going to diet, and I'm going to move, and I'm going to do all the emotionality, I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to do all this, right? And they go a bajillion, they jump off the cliff, right? Because they're like, I'm so ready, I'm so over it, and I get it. And then they're like, fuck, I don't know how to, I shouldn't say that. I don't know how to swim, right? And so then they're back on the shore, and they're like, that was too much, I can't do that, right? And so why we created Shift was that we want to give you guys a sustainable way and a reason and a pattern and a method so that you can slowly, consistently, easily shift your behaviors, shift the way you think, shift the way you feel, start to understand yourself, so that those things just get to happen, right? And it gets to be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be this big challenge. It doesn't have to be this struggle. You just get to do this. Hey girl, you just get to do this in a way that feels good, right? And you get to dive deeper into yourself, and you get to understand this stuff, so you never go back there, right? You never have to be at the edge of the cliff. And the thing that you think is your problem, right? For me, it was my body. I was like, well, my body would ever just be what I wanted to be, I'll finally be happy. And like, it was never about my body, but I didn't believe that. At that point. So what I want to talk to you guys, I'm going to do 3 lives, one today, tomorrow, and Friday. It's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Okay. So today, tomorrow, and Friday, I want to go over the 6 C's, but I want to go 2 at a time, so it's not too much. You guys don't have to listen to me for 15 minutes, because I mean, who really wants to do that, right? So give me a hello when you get on. So today, I want to talk about there's really no like 2 that you have to do first, but to me, the first 2 that I think are really, really important when we're talking about how do I make change in my life, whether that's physical change, emotional change, business change, whatever it is. Like, you want more abundance, you want more happiness, whatever you want, these are the ways to get there. Okay, so the first 2 that I think are the most important is curiosity and courage. Okay, so that's probably not what you thought I was going to say. You're probably going to say, oh, it's commitment, it's consistency, it's all those things, right? Those are the doing things you have to do, but you can't do until you start to actually understand why you want to do it, and understand that, like, it's going to be hard, right? So the first thing we walk through people through is that to do anything in this world and change anything, to shift anything in this world, you have to have awareness. And most of you, I was one of those people, I still am in so many ways in my life, we don't have awareness, right? We don't have awareness in what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we want to be doing, why we want to be doing it, right? Like, we get up, we do the thing, we get the kids to school, we have our food, we go to these meetings, we do the things, we come home, we're exhausted, we go to bed, and we crash, right? And at some point in there, we probably scrolled social media because we didn't actually want to feel, we didn't live with a purpose, right? We didn't show up in the way we wanted to show up, right? And we don't even realize we're doing it, right? Like, I was playing out all these patterns for me personally of, like, if I just diet more, if I just have this, if I had this control, right? Control is my thing. If I had control of all these things, then XYZ, right? And that doesn't work, right? So there's another thing playing in here is your 6 human needs, but we'll talk about that on a different live. But what it really takes is finding awareness and getting really super curious, right? And for so many of you, the first thing you need to do is you got to slow down. You have to slow down if you want to get curious. If you're just doing your day and you're surviving and you're in the hustle and you're in the grind and you're not actually taking a minute and saying, why am I doing this? What do I want to be doing? Like, how does this feel? Like, what's going through my mind, right? Like, so the beauty of curiosity is that we get to have curiosity without judgment, right? And most of us are probably in the point where we're still judging ourselves, so we have to let that go. So we have awareness, and then we get to have curiosity without judgment. And when you do that, you start to go, okay, I got to be present. So I'm not looking at my phone all the time. I'm actually, like, creating a few minutes in the morning to be present and to be quiet and to actually get to be with yourself, right? You have to have connection to your body and to your mind and to all the things that are going on. And then you get to say, why do I think that? Why did I just have that sensation? When my phone rang and it was a phone number I didn't know, why did I get this feeling in my chest? Like, why, when I know I have a meeting with my boss, do I have that feeling? Why do my kids... Like, why do we yell at my kids when it's really nothing about them? Like, what's really going on, right? Why do I have a certain sensation when I look at my bank account or when I think about what I have to do or, whatever? Like, you just get to get curious. Like, what sensations are happening in your body? And can you just note them, right? Can you just be like, that's interesting. Why does that bring me stress? Why does that bring me joy? Why does that make me smile? And then the other side of it is like, why, like, just curious, like, what's going on in your body and what's going on in your brain, right? We think the same thoughts over and over and over and over again. So the question I want you guys to ask yourself as you start to bring curiosity to your thoughts is like, is that true? Is it mine, right? Was it given to you? Did somebody tell you that there's never enough money? Did someone tell you that to be happy, you have to be a certain size? Like, what were you told that you don't even realize you're living into those stories? Because we all are living into those stories, from society, from our parents, from what that person told you when you were 19 that you weren't good enough. Like, we all have this stuff that's playing subconsciously in it. So I want you to really think, when you think about those thoughts, like, is it real? Is it true? And is it mine? Right? And so often you're going to be like, well, it's not real. Never was real. Or maybe it was at one point and it's not real anymore. It's probably not true, right? You're probably not going to be any happier if you have that thing that you think you're searching for. I know for me, when it was the body image thing, I was like, well, if I'm this size, I'll be happier. No, that number on the scale never changed how I felt about myself, right? It wasn't an external thing, it was an internal thing. So is it true? And is it yours? And then that's the big thing when you start to say, is this mine? You're like, where's this coming from? Why do I have this belief? Like, why do I have these sensations? Why is this stuff going on in my life? And once you can start to get curious, everything starts to change, because you're like, oh, you know what? Like, that's not true. It's not real. Maybe it was mine 10 years ago, but that's not my story, right? Like, we are living out our lives every day from stories and identities that we've attached to keep ourselves safe or to keep ourselves feeling safe that aren't actually true, right? And when you start to uncover those and you're like, why am I thinking that? That's not true. That's not real. And even if it was real, you get to shift that. You get to change that story, right? But we have to have curiosity. So the first thing is curiosity, right? Curiosity for yourself. There's also a ton that goes with that, is that you are not walking around in a bubble, right? So you've got to be curious around the people in your life. Why are they in your life? Are they serving your life? Are they serving you and helping you be the best version of yourself? Or are they actually keeping you stuck? And why are they doing what they're doing? Because I think so often in life, we're all quick to judge ourselves and to judge other people. And we don't want to admit that. I get it. I do it and I don't like it. But the truth of the matter is, when you can start to say, I wonder why they're doing that, right? Like, what's their story? Is it their story? Is it true? Did somebody tell them that when they were 7? Like, why are they acting that way? Why are they doing what they were doing? How hurt are they? Right? And this is a total side note, but like, when you see people doing things that you're like, wow, that's not cool. Like, hurt people. So people that have been hurt people. And so think about this. If they can say, do, act certain ways outwardly to other people, imagine what they're doing to themselves. So can you step back and be a little bit curious? Like, what human need are they trying to meet? Are they looking for their need for certainty? Are they trying to control you because they need their certainty so bad? Like, what's actually happening with them? And when you can get curious about yourself and about the people in your life, you start to see things in a whole different way, right? Like, pretty much everybody is just trying to get by, trying to meet their human needs, and trying to just feel like they're going to get love. Okay. So I want you to get super curious. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you in the place you're at in life? Like, where do you want to be? Be really curious. Like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What does the best version of you look like? Okay. And then the second C that I want to talk about today is courage. And that might seem kind of silly, but the truth of the matter is, it can be really scary. It can be really scary to be like, okay, I'm going to start to look inside. I'm going to be like, oof, why am I having these thoughts, right? Because most of us don't want to feel. We've been taught not to feel. We've been taught, like, don't cry, wipe your eyes, you'll be fine, right? And like, we're like, okay, I'm just going to do the thing, right? I got to hustle. I got to show up. I got to do all this stuff, right? It takes courage to say, you know what? I'm not going to live into these stories anymore. And I'm going to actually take some time. I'm going to figure out my stuff. I'm going to figure out where I want to go. I'm going to figure out why I have these thoughts, why I do these things. Like, I'm going to actually take the time to do the harder work, right? Because you know what? It's a whole lot easier to be like, well, give me a food plan, give me a diet so I can lose 20 pounds, because then I'll be happy, right? No, you won't, right? Like, you got to figure out, like, what are you actually searching for? You're actually searching for a feeling. So I want you to be able to say, I'm going to get courageous. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for myself. I'm not going to do it for anybody else, but I'm going to do this for myself so that I can understand myself, so I can truly love myself, so I can truly give myself the love that I deserve. Because when you do that, everything else falls away, right? Like, when you can actually love yourself, it doesn't matter, how much money is in your bank account or who else loves you or what the scale says. None of that matters, because you know that you are whole and you are worthy and you're worth loving yourself. So I just want to open the door and give you guys the invitation to have that courage to say, you know what? My life is not exactly where I want it to be. And you might have a whole lot of things in the right place, right? Like, most really high achievers, which a lot of you guys are, you have a lot of things that are exactly where they need to be, right? And from the outside looking in, it always looks like you have it all figured out. But there's something else deep down that you're like, but there's just this thing. And it nags at me and it makes me feel stuck and it stresses me out. And that's the thing that I need to look at, and I really don't want to. So I encourage you guys to take a minute and think about, like, how would your life change if you faced that thing? If you took the time to go deeper into yourself, if you took the time to understand yourself, if you took the time to understand the people in your life, and then you took the time to act on that, right? You're welcome, my love. So if you do that, what's going to happen? And what would your life look like? And it takes courage. I'll tell you guys, when I started Hunger for Happiness, I was scared. I was really scared. I didn't know, and most of you have probably heard this before, but like, I didn't know what I was going to uncover. Like, from the outside looking in, I had a perfect childhood, right? Like, I was like, I don't know why I've hated my body since I was 16. I don't know why I chose to stick my finger down my throat and throw up for 10 years. I don't know, right? And so I was a little bit worried of like, what am I going to find? Right. And the stuff I found wasn't that traumatic. Right. It was like, I had this need for perfectionism, and that's how it manifested in my life. And so it was showing up in other places, but it was also my need for certainty. So it takes courage, but more likely than not, you're going to be like, oh, wow, that's interesting, right? It doesn't have to be that scary. And if you do uncover some stuff and you do uncover some trauma, then you need to make sure you have a coach that can walk you through that. But when you face that trauma, you get to take ownership of it, and it gets to stop owning you, and you get to energetically move that out of your life, and you get to move away from it, and you get to move through it, and you get to move into that person that you're meant to be. So it takes some courage to look at this and say, you know what, I'm worth it, and I'm worth looking at myself. So today I invite you guys, just get curious. Just look at your life. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And just observe it, right? Don't judge it. Just get curious and take the courage to say, you know what? I'm worth it, and I'm ready to make a change in my life, and I'm ready to whatever that thing is. Maybe it's one thing in your life that you're like, yeah, that little thing is just keeping me from being the absolute best version of myself. I want you to take the time and look at it and think about why it's really important to you. So those are the first 2 C's of shift. I will talk about the other 2 C's, the next 2 C's tomorrow. So I don't know what time, because I never know when I'm going to jump on. So if you found value from this, you guys do me a favor, share it, tag somebody in it that needs to hear this. If you want to know when I go live, I think you can set it so you can get notified, but otherwise the replay is always up. I love your feedback. I love your questions. I've been getting a ton of questions from people about like, okay, I realize it's time to do something, but I don't exactly know what to do. So if that's you and you have questions, you want to know more about the C's we talked about courage and about curiosity, drop me a DM. Otherwise, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.